Thank you for joining today's American Telugu Association ATA webinar on science of the mind management. Welcome you all to this program. So my name is Ramakrishna Reddy, Secretary, American Telugu Association ATA. So before starting the program, just I would like to tell about American Telugu Association. So ATA we typically call ATA. So ATA, it's founded in 1990 as a non-profit organization in USA to serve all the Telugu community in different activities. The main vision of our ATA is passion for our culture, compassion for our people. As a part of the vision, last 33 years, we are conducting several programs in different areas, namely cultural, charity, community, sports, emergency services, immigration services, educational services, sports activities, spiritual, IT trainings, and so many. These are some of the areas I want to mention, but there's a big list what we serve last 33 years. So as a part of that activities, our spiritual committee, Ata Spiritual Committee, uh, come forward to present a spiritual program and regarding the science of mind management. Swami Mukundananda garu will present webinar today, and you will get more details about the trainings. So just I want to mention as a part of the cultural, every 2 years within USA, we conduct a big convention and youth conference. So far we did 17 conferences, and next conference will be in Atlanta next year, 2024. We'll get more details from our President Madhubomineni garu. And thank you for all our ATA members. We have almost near to 20,000 ATA members within USA. Thank you for all your support and participation. And also I encourage and request who are not yet ATA members, please become ATA members to avail all these beautiful programs that is ATA is conducting for the Telugu community in particular, but as well as we do a lot of activities for all the Indian community within USA, sometimes American community too. So please visit our ATA website, americanteluguassociation.org, and try to become a member to support us. As well as I said before, this is our profit organization. So we need funds also. If you are willing to do any amount as a donation to ATA, please visit the same website and help us. With that brief introduction, I would like to invite our American Telugu Association ATA President Madhu Bomineni garu to talk about our ATA programs and convention further. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramakrishna garu. Andariki namaskaram and welcome. We have a great program with Mukundananda Swami garu today. So itlanti కార్యక్రమాలు for our physical and mental well-being కోసం ఎన్నో కార్యక్రమాలు ఆట జరుపుతూ ఉంది. కంటిన్యూస్గా జరుగుతున్నాయి ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్, స్పిరిచువల్ కానీ మెడిటేషన్, యోగా, ఫిట్నెస్ అట్లాంటివి మాత్రమే కాకుండా ఎన్నో ఎడ్యుకేషనల్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్, IT training with up-to-date technologies for us to update our skills. Children కోసం SAT coaching, ACT coaching programs, elementary and middle school students కోసం we're going to start tutoring programs. ఇట్లాంటివి ఎన్నో జరుగుతున్నాయి. Recently we also announced youth scholarships for our youngsters, 12 scholarships within our community for Telugu students and non-Telugu students this year. So we awarded 12 scholarships to the college-bound students. మన ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ అన్ని మన ఆటా సభ్యుల కోసమే నిరంతరంగా జరుగుతున్నాయి. సో ప్లీజ్ యూటిలైజ్ దీస్ వండర్ఫుల్ ఆపర్చునిటీస్. ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్, ఈ స్కెడ్యూల్స్ ఇవన్నీ you can visit the ATA website to see when these things happen. and what kind of programs and other events that are happening in every week throughout the year. So I also would like to take this opportunity to give you a great news at our next conference, 18th ATA Conference and Youth Convention, Atlantalo, June 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2024లో పెద్ద ఎత్తున జరగబోతుంది. మీరందరూ రావాలి ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో, అందరూ పార్టిసిపేట్ చేయాలి, కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ని విజయవంతం చేయాలి. అందరూ ఆహ్వానితులే. సో ప్లీజ్ బ్లాక్ యూర్ క్యాలెండర్ ఫర్ June 7th, 8th, 9th, 2024 in for Atlanta conference. Now coming to today's program, ఈరోజు స్వామి ముకుందానంద మనకు స్పిరిచువల్ డిస్కోర్స్ ఇవ్వడం చాలా సంతోషకరమైన విషయం. ఈస్ available and directly coming to us is wonderful. Swamiji is an author, IIT graduate, Vedic scholar, and a spiritual leader. So without delay, I welcome Swamiji.
Swami Mukundananda is a global spiritual leader and international authority on mind management. He is the founder of Jagat Guru Kripalu Yog and a senior disciple of the fifth original Jagat Guru, Sri Kripaluji Maharaj. Swamiji conducts life transformation programs and spiritual retreats across 83 cities of the world every single year. People across the globe throng to attend the soulful retreats and family camps conducted in his divine presence. Swamiji has guided, inspired, and transformed millions of lives through his most logical, scientific, and devotional lectures. Swami Mukundananda is a visionary with a mission of spreading the message of selfless service to God. Swamiji has more than 5 million followers on social media, and he has established a vivid variety of specially designed free online courses that are serving the global community for many years. Swamiji has been the inspiration behind the multiple global events including International Gita Festival, International Yoga Festival, Sanskriti International, and many more. Swamiji has also set up the Jagat Guru Kripalu Naturopathy Hospital and the Jagat Guru Kripalu University at Orissa to provide quality wellness treatment and education to one and all. The Radhakrishna Temple of Dallas, Center for Indian Culture and Education at Dallas, and the Radhakrishna Temple of Bay Area provide various avenues and ample opportunities to explore Indian culture and nurture selfless devotion towards God. For the future generations, Swamiji has curated value-based educational programs such as the Bal Mukund program for children and JK Yog Youth Club for the youth. Swami Mukundananda is also a best-selling author of various books. The Holy Bhagavad Gita, The Science of Mind Management, 7 Mindsets for Success, Happiness and Fulfillment, 7 Divine Laws, Spiritual Dialectics, Power of Thoughts, and the recently published Golden Rules for Living Your Best Life. Swamiji has touched the lives of millions across the globe to empower the soul, elevate the mind, and attain divine bliss. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Swami Mukundananda.
Namaste, my heartiest greetings to all the members of the American Telugu Association, ATA, to all the officials of the ATA, ATA, who have invited me online today to meet all your members. I shall be speaking to you all today on the topic the science of mind management. All of us wish to lead incredibly successful life. We wish to think happy thoughts, to become better people, to make our efforts more effective. In this process, what are the resources we need? Some people succeed tremendously despite having very meager assets on their command, while on the other hand, others with a lot of resources keep on struggling through the journey of life. Consider the example of an incredibly successful person from the rock and roll generation. This person was Elvis Presley. He was the icon of the youth, and he had the maximum albums sold in the history of the music industry. He had a golden voice and was tremendously good looking. And yet, the way he led the last 4 years of his life was this. When he would come back from a public performance, he would tell his servants, "Give me the first hit." They would put an injection under his shoulder blade of barbiturates and give him some crystals of chemicals to eat. And then he would gorge himself on food until he fainted. He would then wake up at about 4 in the morning and ask his servants, "Give me the second hit." The same process would follow. And next time he would wake up at midday, whether he asked for it or not. His servants would give him the third hit. Then in the evening, he would take chemicals to wake himself up and go for his program. And returning, the same thing would happen. When he finally died, people did not know whether it was suicide or whether it was an overdose on drugs. This was the example of someone who had everything and yet failed. What was the cause of his failure? His inability to control his thoughts, his ineptness in managing his mind. That is why the Panchadashi states that this mind is the cause of bonding, but this mind can also be the cause of liberation. Man eva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayo. The karan for bandhan and moksha is the man. On the other hand, consider the example of someone who was apparently so deprived and yet tremendously successful. You may have heard the name of Helen Keller. When she was an 18-month-old, she got a spinal virus because of which she lost the sense of sight and the sense of hearing. Now, how to communicate with a baby who can neither see nor hear? She could not learn a language. When her parents would touch her, she would throw a tantrum. At the age of 6, she was taken by her mother to a school for the physically challenged. The principal of the school, Anne Sullivan, was slightly blind herself. So she touched Helen, and as was her habit, Helen threw a tantrum. Anne Sullivan said to the parents, "Leave her with me tonight." Later in the evening, Anne Sullivan put little Helen's hand under the water from a tap and took the other hand and took it over an etched drawing of water. For the first time in 6 years, Helen Keller had a light going on in her head when she realized that physical entities have got designations. That ignited in her the curiosity to learn more. And she went on learning the names of 30 things till that night. After that, there was no stopping. She started reading. She started studying classics of literature. She aspired to go to Harvard University and got entry into the Ladies' College associated with Harvard, which was Radcliffe College. She became a graduate. Now, her aspiration to do good did not stop there. She wanted to actually start giving lectures. The miracle took place when Anne Sullivan would speak and put little Helen's, now she was no longer little, her hands on her throat and on her mouth and tongue. And through the kinesthetic, Helen learned to speak. He then traveled the world over giving lectures and became a philanthropist, serving those who were blind and hearing impaired. She died at the ripe age of 87 and said, "Life has been so beautiful. I enjoyed every moment of it." If we compare Elvis Presley with Helen Keller, you have completely contrasting scenarios. One who had everything and yet was a miserable failure leading a wretched life. And on the other hand, someone who had far less than most of us and yet had such a rich journey of life. So what was the difference between the two? Not the external resources that mattered, but how they marshaled their own inner mind. This mind is a tremendously powerful machine that God has bestowed upon us human beings. What does the mind do? It creates thoughts. These thoughts are subtle bundles of energy, metaphysical in nature. And that is why science is not yet fully familiar with the nature of this metaphysical thought. But we experience that thoughts can make us unhappy and thoughts can make us happy. In fact, those thoughts can impact our appearance. You look at someone and say, "He seems like a cunning guy, don't trust him." Those cunning thoughts he harbored changed his appearance. And you look at someone else and say, "He seems so trustworthy, it's all right." Again, those guileless thoughts that she kept within herself chiseled her external facial appearance. So the thoughts are being created by an inner machine which is called mind. This mind of ours is responsible for our happiness and distress. A Western philosopher, John Milton, said, "The mind is a place of its own, and in itself can make heaven out of hell, and hell out of heaven." Even the mind is such a thing that if it is agitating, even sitting in a place with celestial luxuries, you will experience hellish torments. On the other hand, if the mind is calm and peaceful, then even if you are situated in a place which is full of hellish adversities, you will experience celestial joy. So that means our happiness is directly tied to the state of our mind. Not only that, our health also gets affected by the mind. We know by our thoughts we can make our blood pressure rise, our heartbeat increase, or the reverse. In fact, our thoughts are responsible for changing the chemical composition in our blood. And that is why many diseases like arthritis, irritable bowel, etc., etc., they have a mental component to them. The thoughts in our head, they result in poisoning the body if the thoughts themselves are poisonous. One researcher from Harvard, Dr. Herbert Benson, he pointed out that in Australia, there are the native Australian people who have this belief that if their witch doctor gets annoyed and bones someone, the boning means that they incant certain chants, lifting their arm up into the sky and then take the bone and wave it around somebody's face. Their belief tells them that something terrible is pouring in from the heavens through the witch doctor into that person. There is nothing of the sort. But this person is thinking so. So if the witch doctor, becoming annoyed, starts moaning someone, that native Australian's face falls. Oh my God, I am done for. You must see the fear in that person's countenance. And slowly he starts choking, holding his neck. And in a few minutes, he's fallen to the ground. In a few hours, he passes away from the world. Although a terrible pity that such a thing happens. But look what is the reason behind it, that merely the thoughts in the head that I am getting wound resulted in the switching off the organs of the body and that person's death. This is a case of the negativity of the mind impacting the health of the body to an extreme extent. And the reverse of this is also possible. By bringing positive thoughts to your mind, you can literally heal yourself in many cases. One Norman Cousins, an American philosopher, he wrote a book on this in the 1980s, Anatomy of an Illness. He was diagnosed of leukemia, blood cancer, and he was a firm believer that happy thoughts are very helpful for health. So he went and got 500 humor movies from the library, one after the other. He would watch it and laugh, laugh. That had such a salubrious impact on his health that slowly his leukemia went into remission. And he went on to live another 20 years from that. So the message then is that this mind also has a connection with your body. That is why the World Health Organization of the United Nations, it defined health as the complete physical, emotional, social, and spiritual well-being of an individual and not merely the absence of disease. So this definition led a little towards the concept of holistic health, where you don't see this body as a reductionist lump of matter, where this is the illness, you pop in this chemical, and that is the disease, you pop in this medicine, but rather respect that the body has got its different dimensions, as our Vedas explain, that you, the soul, have are enmeshed in three bodies. The first is the gross body. This is made of earth, water, fire, air, and sky, the five gross elements, Prithvi, Jal, Tej, Vayu, Akash. And then is the subtle body, which is the mind and the intellect and the ego. And the third is the causal body or Karan Sharir, which has your sanskars of endless lifetime. In the Yoga Vasisht, there's a story. Bhagavan Ram once went to tour his kingdom, and he saw that the residents of Ayodhya were falling sick. Seeing their sorrow, Bhagavan Ram was moved to compassion. And he came back and asked his guru, Maharshi Vasisht, what is the cause of Vyadhi or disease? And Guru Vasisht gave a very insightful answer that the mind body department of Harvard Medical School and the mind body lab of Stanford University would be astounded to hear and to think that this answer was given thousands of years ago. His salutation to that scripture, that conversation to Maharshi Vasisht, he said, Ram, disease begins in the mind. When we start harboring hot poisons, anger, greed, desire, jealousy, hatred, resentment, worry, anxiety, lamentation, fear, all of these, they agitate the mental sheet. So, as per the Vedas, we have got five sheets in our personality: the Annamaya coach, the grass seed, the Pranamaya coach, the vital energy, the Manamaya coach, the mental sheet, the Vijnanamaya coach, the intellectual dimension, and the Anandamaya coach, the bliss sheet. So he said, Ram, they agitate the Manmaya coach, mental sheet. And that disturbance is passed on into the vital energy, the pranamaya coach, which gets disturbed. Now, the pranic Shakti is not flowing the way it is supposed to flow. A patient of fibromyalgia can experience things are going wrong. The stress in the mind is resulting in bodily dysfunction. And that then manifests from the pranamaya coach into the body as disease. So, if we wish to be truly healthy, we must definitely do yogasana and pranayam, etc. We must eat healthy food, but even that will not suffice. We will need to learn the art of how to keep happy, joyful, positive thoughts, thoughts of optimism, thoughts of hope in our mind. So we must, all of us in life, have freedom to choose our. Many things are given. You can't do much about it. Just like if you were to play a hand of cards, you'll be dealt the cards with which you have to play. Now that is given. After that, how you play is not predetermined. It's a freedom that you have. Likewise, by our past karmas, we all got born in a certain place. We got raised in certain circumstances. We got more or less intellect, more or less talents and abilities. Some of it was given to us. But the one thing that we always have control over is our thought. So when we don't realize that freedom, that independence, we start blaming other things for our bad moods. And that doesn't solve any problem. I was about 30 years ago giving a lecture in a border town of Odisha and Telangana. And there, it was a small town. In the morning, I went out for a walk. Just by the side of the town was a river. So the main road entering the town was going, had a bridge over the river. And as I walked there close, and I was 40 yards away from the bridge, I saw a man jump onto the bridge. And he was looking down and hesitating. It was obvious that he was contemplating suicide. I was so scared. What is he doing? But he was so far away. If I started running, he would easily have time to jump off. So, in desperation, I screamed, "Stop!" Now that man hesitated and jumped off. In the meantime, I got the opportunity. I came running and grabbed his arm. And I said, "My dear fellow," he seemed to be a beggar man. I said, "My dear fellow, what were you doing?" He said, "Are, Swamiji, God has given me nothing in this world, only miseries and miseries. So I was putting an end to my life. I was committing suicide." I said, "Really? God has given you nothing?" "No, nothing at all." I said, "All right, let's do like this. I will arrange for you to get 10 lakhs. 30 years ago, the 10 lakhs is like 4 crore of today. So I said, "I'll arrange for you to get 10 lakh rupees." He said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, but you'll have to give me something in return." He said, "What?" I said, "You'll have to give me your 2 legs." He said, "No, how can I give my 2 legs? I'm not interested." I said, "That means your 2 legs are more valuable than 10 lakh rupees. That's why you're not willing to exchange. Okay, will you settle for 5 lakhs? In that case, give me your 2 arms." He was not willing for that as well. I kept on putting value to his different bodily parts, and I said, "Look, you have got 3 crore rupees right here, including the eyes, ear, nose, etc. You were saying that God has given you nothing? Likewise, if we have 2 eyes with which we see, remember, each is fitted with 125 million receptors, with the help of which we can enjoy the beauty of the eagle in flight, the glory of the rising and the setting sun in the horizon of the sky, the splendor of the rainbow in the sky. Isn't it a grace of God? If you can hear this lecture, then remember God has fitted your 2 ears with 24,000 fibers each, with the help of which you can hear sound from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz and enjoy, relish the sound of the wind rustling the leaves and the breaking of the waves of the sea on the rock and the mirth of children in laughter. Count it again as one more blessing. This human body of ours is endowed with a heart that pumps 100,000 times every day, sending blood through miles of arteries and capillaries to nourish 37 trillion cells in our body. That means in the space of 1 year, your heart pumps 36 million times. You have a musculoskeletal system endowed with 205 bones and 630 muscles, all at your beck and command, how you order and how you instruct it. Count it as another blessing of God. We have got this brain of ours, which is fitted with 100 billion neurons. And these neurons can form amongst themselves trillions of circuits. These are the resources that literally each and every one of us has. But the one thing God leaves in our hands is our own ability, our freedom to choose our path. So if we choose thoughts that are lofty and noble and sublime, it will make such a difference to our lives. And when we start choosing good thoughts, our actions will automatically improve. That means the actions are the effect, and the cause is the thoughts. Just like all trees grow from seeds, and without a seed, there will never be a tree. Likewise, if we wish to improve our actions, we must start by improving our thoughts. And if our thoughts are dismal, abject, or maybe even tainted by selfishness and evil, how can we expect our actions to be noble and sublime? So we must remember that in life we are called upon to be the gardeners of our mind. This mind is can also be compared to a factory. And in the factory of your mind, you can produce thoughts that will lift you up to unimaginable heights or pull you down to dismal depth. So the mind is like a fertile garden. If you sow it with good thoughts and ensure that the weeds are pulled out, you will get an excellent mind. And if you are careless, the weeds will grow. This will be the negative thinking or the thoughts of anger, greed, desire, etc. that will rob us of all our happiness and cripple our effectivity and success in our life. When we start controlling our thoughts and tending to the garden of our mind, we will then come across another link. What is that? That by our thoughts we will attract circumstances in our life. This universe is very responsive to our thoughts because the universe is so designed for the elevation of the soul. And the soul's consciousness is tied to its thoughts. So people, sometimes you see somebody is an evil person. How did this person do evil things like murder? It all started with thought. And somebody else is a big philanthropist, helping and serving others. How did it begin? Again with thoughts. We people start struggling with the circumstances in our life. I want to change my situation. I want to change that. But instead, if we first work with our thoughts, the situations will start changing. One lady, she was born in a poor family in one of the economically deprived towns of Andhra Pradesh. a little village hamlet, but she started cultivating noble thought. And that attracted great destiny. She won a scholarship to a good college. There she kept on nurturing the desire to make a difference in this world. And she got a scholarship to come to USA, where she got the opportunity to study amongst the best in the world. And before you realize it, she became a captain of the industry because of her expertise that she gathered. Now you can say it was just lady luck that shone upon her, but that's not the correct understanding. It all began with the harboring of good thoughts. That is why our scriptures tell us that when you do bhakti, when you do devotion, definitely engage in the ceremonial acts. You're going to bathe in the Ganga and you're going on the yatra to the four dhams, that's fine. But don't forget the mind. Without engaging the mind, all the puja you're doing will become a physical grip. Hence, the mind is so important and is the cause of bondage and liberation. The aim of this lecture today is to give you an introduction to the importance of mind management. And this is planned out as, I believe, a four-part series. And in subsequent lectures, you will be informed how to actually handle this mind, get rid of anger, greed, desire, etc., create good habits, engage in positive thinking, harness the power of self talk, enhance your willpower, understand the subconscious mind, control the mind with the intellect, many more such effective tools. With that, I will bring my discussion today to a close here and invite the rest of the program. Namaste.
Immense gratitude and heartfelt appreciation, Swamiji, for your enlightening discourse on the science of mind management. It is truly a blessing to receive your invaluable wisdom from you. And you have been so kind to give us your precious time for this exclusive webinar for ATA members. So we are immensely grateful to you for that. I'm sure ATA members are very inspired and looking forward to the intensive training sessions provided by the JK Yog team. And as many of you are aware, this webinar marks the inaugural session of an enlightening series. And we will talk about the series in a very brief way. So over the next three sessions, you will embark on a profound exploration of this practical and vital subject. And furthermore, in the fourth session, a unique opportunity will await us. So we will have an interactive Q&A session with Swamiji himself. So this promises to be a very insightful and transformative journey ahead. So every session has been thoughtfully curated and will encompass the following enriching components. So enlightening video lecture by Swamiji, engaging study aids, interactive discussions and knowledge sharing sessions, and also practical and implementable tools. So we'll be discussing all these things during the sessions. So those who would like to join the training session, please do ensure to register. So we'll be sending out all the material and explaining the training details in email. So we will now move on to the Q&A session with Swamiji. So Satyanarayana Raju Kurpati Garu, our spiritual committee co-chair, and myself will be reading out the questions from the participants.
Thank you everyone. Namaskaram, Swamiji. The first question I got it today is, how can I improve my mind management?
Okay. Satyanarayanji, thank you for reading out the question. Mind management is an extensive science, but to share one insight into it, we can use our intellect to control the mind. Like, for example, let us say that there is somebody's boss has shouted at a person. Now one feels angry, and the mind is full of rage. The mind says, I want to shout back at this person. But the intellect says that this is not a good thing for you. If you shout at the boss, you will lose your job. So they control their mind. That means, with the help of the intellect, we all have the ability to control our mind. We people are not realizing that ability. And that is why it is seeming to us that this mind is outside my control. But that is not the case. Even a little child can do it. Our parents come to me, Swamiji, my child does not study. Please explain something to him. And I ask the child, why don't you study? The child says, Swamiji, my mind doesn't go to studies, what to do? The problem is a practical one. But the same child who is complaining that I am not able to study, when they go to their examination hall, out there they sit for 2 hours, they focus their mind and give the best possible answer. That means when they really wanted to, they were able to focus. How did that focus come? The intellect decided these 2 hours are very important. Once the intellect decided, it has the ability to control the mind. So, for all of us human beings, we have the mind and we have the intellect. We must illumine our intellect with good knowledge, with good wisdom, and then learn how to control the mind with the help of the intellect. Right.
Thank you, Swamiji. Next question. How can we explain spirituality to children?
How to explain spirituality to children? The way I like to put it is that spirituality has got four aspects to it. The first is self awareness skills. The second is universal awareness skills. The third is emotional management skills. And the fourth is professional skills. So let's go into this. Like, for example, self awareness. Try and help the child understand who are they, what are their values, what are their beliefs, what are their goals in life. These big questions help the child think about. And then the second, universal awareness skills. I am not alone in this universe. I am a little part of God. All the universe is connected. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We are all children of the same one God. So this will expand the thinking of the child. And likewise, also help the child understand there are universal laws that are applicable. Like, for example, the law of karma. You do good and you will get good. You do bad, you will get bad. So help the child understand that such laws do exist. Now, the third one is emotional skills. Let the child become more aware of the emotions that are raging. I'm becoming angry now. Okay, become aware. Anger is arising. And then help the child learn when I become angry, what should I do? What should I think? So, this will give the emotional skills. And the fourth one is professional skills, means how to use our talents in a way that will help others. So the child as yet doesn't have a profession, but the child can be seeded with the thought that look, you're going to school, you're getting this knowledge. When you grow up, you will have an opportunity to use this knowledge in the service of humankind, in the service of others, and that will be the success of your effort. So, when we can seed the child with this kind of wisdom, the child will grow in spirituality.
Thank you, Swamiji. Next question is, how do we generate a positive thought when things are going wrong in our life?
Sure. This is a question that is in the minds of many people when I explain that, look, negative thoughts will hurt you and you must think positive. But their own experience is that so many negativities are happening in their life. So, how can they avoid negative thinking? So, the one advice I give to them always is agreed, there are adversities in your life, but also remember the blessings you have. It is not that we don't have any blessings. Remember that beggar I was talking about who was saying, I don't have anything? And then I explained, you have got so many things. You've got hands, you've got feet, you've got all this. You're saying God has given me nothing. When we remember the gifts in our life and we cultivate gratitude in our heart, that is the best way to drive away negativity and make ourselves positive and happy.
Thank you, Swamiji. Wonderful answer. Next question. Does food have an impact on how the mind works? For example, eating only vegetable food.
The food does have an impact. We can obviously see that the body we have is made from the food we eat. Not only that, the Vedas say the mind is also impacted by the food we eat. Ahar shuddhau sattva shuddhi. So if we eat sattvic things, those sattvic things, the fruits, the vegetables, the grains, the dairy product, as God has made for humans, these will lead to enhancement of our physical health and they will make our mind calm and peaceful. We'll start enjoying the inner bliss and the dawning of knowledge. On the other hand, the same foods, when they are eaten just to enjoy the taste. Now, when they are too sweet or too salty or too sour or too bitter or too hot or too cold, they now become rajasic mode of passion. And eating such foods inflames our materialistic desires. I need to become this, I need to achieve that. And when we eat tamasic foods, which includes intoxicants, meat, fish, and egg, then they result in increasing the darkness over the soul. One develops more proclivity towards anger, which is a consequence of tamogun, towards laziness, towards intoxication, towards indolence. So in this way, there is a direct connection between our food and the state of our mind.
Thank you, Swamiji. Great answer. It's related to a few other questions to food, or I don't know. Someone is asking, how can we control anger?
How can we control anger? Uh, Definitely, Satyanarayan ji, the questioner's curiosity is a very important one. Anger is one of the biggest afflictions of the mind. In anger, people hurt others, they destroy property, they hurt themselves. And so much of violence is committed because of anger. But anger has a cause behind it. And what is that cause? When we have create expectations When we create attachments, this must happen, this must not happen, and those expectations are not met, it leads to frustration, it leads to bitterness, it leads to anger. So the desires we are creating are at the root of them. And the Bhagavad Gita explains to us that look, in your hand is not the circumstances. In your hand is only the efforts. So put in good efforts and leave the results in God's hands. So when you stop saying, he should say this, he should not say that, this should happen, that should not happen, and you learn to be more accepting, then this anger will start disappearing.
Thank you, Swamiji. Very insightful answer. Next question. How do I train my brain to stop intrusive thoughts?
Intrusive thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what the questioner is asking about intrusive thoughts means that they don't want a thought to come, but the thought is still intruding inside. Now that is a very harassing situation. Like your hands are under your command and you can instruct the hand, take the food and put it in the mouth. But if the hand doesn't obey and starts taking the food and putting on the head and the comb and putting in the mouth, it will be a crazy situation. But this is what is happening with the thoughts. Somebody said to me, Swamiji, my mind likes to work overtime on the weekends without pay. So these intrusive thoughts, firstly, they are automatic. They are coming without calling them. The second is they are negative. They are robbing us of our happiness. They are giving us the reason why I don't have to be my best. So these are called the automatic negative thoughts. Now, the problem is getting compounded because if you keep on practicing a kind of thought, it locks in the mind. The neurons involved in that thought, they start wiring together. And the same thought becomes more easy to come to us. That is why it becomes a big problem for people, the negative thoughts. Now, I suggest a three-step process to handle this. The first step is dilution. You dilute thought, which means you distance yourself from the thought. Supposing the thought is what will happen in my future, now you distance yourself from the thought. My mind is creating this thought. Okay, I am not interested in it. The moment you start watching your thought, it loses its grip, its strength. So that is the first step. And to do that, in the West, they practice mindfulness. Mindfulness means watching your mind, but we have got Sakshi Bhav, where we practice witness consciousness because we understand the self as the soul. So when you know you're the soul, then you can see that this is the mind and mind is making mischief, and you create distance, dilution, step one. The second is step two. You substitute the negative thought with the positive thought. For example, if the thought that is persisting says, I will never succeed in life, you say, why will I never succeed? I succeeded in that time, I succeeded in that time. And you substitute with a positive thought. By effort and God's grace, I can succeed. And then third step is sublimation. Revise the positive thought. When you keep on revising, it will lock in into your head. Just like the negative was intrusive, now the positive will grow into you as a mindset and you will develop positive thinking. In brief, that is the way to handle it.
Thank you, Swamiji. The next question is little bigger question, essay type. What is the meaning of Karma Yoga? We are hearing in Bhagavad Gita.
Sure. Karma yoga is a much used word, but people are not understanding the depth of it. If they did, they'd say, wow, what an amazing science that is there in our Vedic culture that's unparalleled in the world. So, Karma Yoga basically, yoga means to keep your mind in the divine. If the mind is free from anger, greed, desire, the mind is united with God in love, that is the yoga or the yoga. And if you can do that alongside with karma, it will become karma yoga. So, to put it briefly, karma yoga means with your body, you're doing your worldly duties. And with your mind, you have got thoughts, loving thoughts of God. So jointly doing both of these is the instruction of Sri Krishna. He told Arjuna, Sarveshu Kaleshu Ma Manusmara Yudhyacha. Arjun, you are a warrior, you have your duties in the protection of Dharma, do it. But Ma Manusmara, at all times, keep your mind in me. If you can keep your mind in God and body doing your worldly duties, you will then become a karma yogi.
Thank you, Swamiji. Very wonderful answer. I think we'll do this as the last question. Those who follow the Dharma, is Dharma saving us in the current society?
Dharma saving us in the current society. Dharma eva hato hanti dharmo rakshati rakshitah. Manuji Maharaj said, when dharma is destroyed, then human society is destroyed. And when dharma is intact, then human society remains civilized. So, first of all, the benefit of dharma is it will save you. That means that if you follow the path of dharma, you will desist from tamasic activities, drinking, smoking, addictions, etc. If you follow the path of dharma, you will think less about materialistic ambitions and more about purifying your mind, cultivating inner virtue. You will become a better person with a noble character. So dharma will teach you that serving a higher purpose is more important than mere fulfilling of the self. Now, some people can say that when we do such things, then we get cheated, etc., etc. But I disagree with that. If you can make yourself valuable, if you can truly add value to others, everyone will respect you. It is wrong to think that a business has to squeeze customers to get profit. Instead, a business should provide maximum value to customers, and they'll have the maximum repeat sales and they will grow the profit. So, always when we focus on giving, this universe returns by giving to us in abundance. Dharma is always the savior. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Swamiji, for providing such insightful and profound answers to all the questions. We are immensely grateful for your time. So, I would like to extend my gratitude to all the ATA executive team members, ATA President Madhu Bomineni Garu, ATA Secretary Ramakrishna Reddy Alag Garu, ATA Spiritual Team, ATA Media Team, and JKO team for bringing this very enlightening session with Swamiji to all the ATA members. So with that, we will close this session. So please remember to join us next week.